are the New York Knicks. I'm back in the New York groove. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York girl. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks is taking no short, just like winter. New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, welcome to the New York Knicks podcast, episode 608, and the Knicks have clinched the playoffs.
The Knicks have won the title. I mean, clinched the playoffs. I mean, they're awesome.
So
I'm happy.
Second time in 3 years. It looks like they're almost a lock for the 5th seed. We'll be playing the Cavs in the first round.
Second time in 3 years, third time in a decade.
Yes. So
Fifth time in 20 years.
How you feeling about this?
I am feeling good. We haven't clinched the 5th seed yet. We're still.
I mean, there's 3 games left and they're up 2 in the loss column. They're going to finish in 5th.
They have to win at least one. Do they have the tiebreaker against the Nets? I believe they may have the tiebreaker against the Nets with the win against the Wizards.
I honestly don't think it matters. There's no Halliburton. It looks like Turner might be out. Duarte is out.
They've got to win one of these last 3 games, I think, to clinch it.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to finish 5th.
Okay. I mean, the Nets are. I have to hand it to the Nets. The Durant trade is actually looking pretty good for them right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're not terrible. They're like NBA purgatory team now.
I don't know if they are that. I mean, we'll go back to the Knicks in 1 second, but Mikal Bridges has been goddamn awesome since they got him.
Yeah, he's been great.
He's been great. That's a pretty big get. I think that was a pretty. I mean, obviously, Durant is better, but if you're going to lose Durant, and you got rid of. They did actually did a pretty good job in their trades. Anyway, I said that. Now I might have to commit ritual suicide. Anyway, screw the Nets. I cannot wait till Mikal Bridges demands a trade and goes to the Knicks also. Jay, did you know that Obi Toppin is averaging 16.5 points a game, 2.5 assists, and 1 rebound since Randle went out?
And 1 rebound?
1 rebound. Over the last 2 games.
Okay. I mean,
I thought it was actually, I looked up his stats over the last 2 games, and I thought this was a mistake. I was like, 1 rebound. They mean 1 rebound. I was like, nope, he got 1 rebound both games. But
okay.
Either way, he's averaging 16.5. He blew up against Washington, and he is a budding star now.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a few articles from the Post and saying that this changes the dynamic of the team and Obi's emerged. I'm like, can we just settle down a little bit? It's good. I'm glad the Knicks have a good backup.
Let's debate. First of all, we do not know if Randle will actually be back for game 1 or any game against Cleveland. We don't know this yet, right?
He has to. What
do you mean he has to? He's being reevaluated in 2 weeks when playoffs start.
Yes, and if he's not back, the Knicks are toast. I don't care about all it. Great, Obi's good. The Knicks are toast if Randle doesn't come back.
Okay, why don't we play? I'm going to play a little. Can we play debate time here?
Yeah, let's do debate time.
I am going to take the side that you're going to take the side the Knicks need Randle back. Is that fair?
That's fair.
I'm going to take the side that Obi Toppin should already be in the Hall of Fame. Okay, let's go.
Okay. The Knicks need Randle back. They do.
Have you seen how Obi dunks?
Obi does dunk.
Do you know he's cutting to the basket to his game?
Okay, that's good. Now he's dual faceted.
He's taking time to rebound when he cut. Also, without an S at the end of the word rebound.
Oh, okay. Yes, singular. Yes, he does rebound.
He's filling up the. Yeah, Obi changes the way the Knicks play. Did you know that all the other players got a lot of points because Obi was out there?
That's an interesting theory.
A take that I saw other people make.
Okay.
I'm not out here alone on an island on here. People said the pace, the way the Knicks played was different because the Randle wasn't out there. Obi makes everyone better like Magic Johnson.
Okay. I would say that his defense and his rebounding are insufficient, and it's going to be insufficient in the playoffs.
All I know is he can play defense if given the chance, and hasn't been given the chance to play defense yet.
They're just holding him back on defense?
Listen, his offense is so good. He's dynamic. He's awesome. You know he dunks the basketball.
He does dunk the basketball.
Honestly, the Knicks have no chance of winning if Randle doesn't play and Obi refuses to play also.
What?
So you need Obi out there if Randle's not out there. And if Randle's out there, you still need Obi. You always need Obi. You're telling me, Jay, if we banish Obi to Siberia, we could still win this series?
I might be bold enough to say that, yes.
Okay. So in other words, Obi is the key. He's the X factor.
I
win. I win. I've dominated this conversation.
I cede.
Obi dominates the basketball. You lose.
I cede the floor to you.
Okay. Cool. I do think, in all seriousness, Obi might be an X factor or the X factor of the series. He's one of the X factors of the series coming up.
Okay.
I will make the argument that we do not know if Randle will be back. Mm-hmm. If Randle is back, he may not be at full strength. He may be a bit hobbled because he's coming. Like he's probably going to try to force his way back a little bit early, not give himself a full time to rest, which is understandable. Mm-hmm. Either way, we need Obi to play well enough that Randle doesn't need to play more than like 30, 32 minutes in the first round. Or if Randle's not there, we really need Obi to step up. He's got to. I mean, he's a huge. Cleveland is also, they have a lot of height. You really need someone else. You just need other weapons out there.
Yeah, because he's going to be going up against like Mobley. That's not a great matchup.
Also, so I feel like you generally with your bench, you're hoping your starting unit can beat the other starting unit and your bench can just kind of hold serve against the other teams just to like get so the bench can the starter can get back out there. Mm-hmm. But I think one of the Knicks' advantages is they have a really good bench and their bench should be better than Cleveland's bench and help the Knicks score points, add to their lead. The bench is key here, and Obi Toppin's a huge part of the bench.
The Knicks have one of the best benches in the league. I don't think that's like a hot take.
No, I think actually since Hart's been here, I don't have the stats to back it up in front of me, but I've heard that the Knicks like the on-off points, whatever. The Knicks bench is one of the top in the league.
Yeah. So
I hope I didn't get too technical with the stats there.
So that's definitely going to be that's going to be huge in the playoffs because most of the other teams, maybe you could say Milwaukee has a pretty deep bench, but like most of the other teams do not have a lot coming off the bench.
Right. I mean, also we should just focus on Cleveland at the moment. Like, let's not go like crazy about everyone else, but like if we beat Cleveland, we'll start our own parade down Broadway. Not that being Cleveland's everything, but like if this team gets to the second round, that'll be a huge step in the right direction.
Absolutely.
And we can go further than that, but I think this team. Do you think this team has a shot without Randle of beating Cleveland?
No.
Really?
No, I don't. I think Obi's good, but I think it's too much of a downgrade without Randle. I don't like Cleveland's height, and no. I think you need a bigger body that can rebound. I think they're going to get stomped off the boards. There's going to be like no second chances. I don't like it.
No, I have to say the rebounding is a huge factor, and I also feel like everyone's celebrating how well Obi played, but his one rebound in 33 minutes and one rebound in 19 minutes the game before, like people are like, oh my God, I can't believe Tibbs wasn't playing him. And you're like, he got one rebound. He's your power forward. I kind of understand why Tibbs wasn't playing him.
Well, that, like the defense, it's Randle.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the defense. Let's not make
like Randle is a lockdown defender. Randle is like average at best, but Obi's worse.
Randle can play solid one-on-one defense. He gets lost in team defense or doesn't give full effort in team defense. But when if Randle gives effort, his defense is decent. If Obi gives effort, his defense is still below average. And I think rebounding is a big thing also. Just like getting the rebounds. Randle's an excellent rebounder.
Yeah.
Obi could be the worst rebounder in the 9-man rotation.
Probably. I mean, there's a lot of good rebounders in the rotation.
Right now, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, is there anyone actually worse than him in the rebounding in the rotation, considering their stature? I mean, Brunson's even a better rebounder.
Yeah. No, Brunson's a good rebounder.
Josh Hart is a million times better rebounder.
Hart's elite. Hart's an elite rebounder.
Quickly's a pretty good rebound. I mean, you have a lot of guys who are pretty good rebounders.
Yeah. I mean, that's how the Knicks make up for their bad field goal percentage is second chance points off of rebounds.
Right. I did notice when the Knicks played the Wizards, I think Mitch usually doesn't get a million rebounds. And a part of it, he's blocking guys out. And like, they got 11 rebounds. I thought he had more actually. But I feel like there's extra pressure on the center basically when Obi's out there, like step up as far as rebounding.
Yeah. I mean, luckily, Knicks have a really good center rotation because Ihart's been playing his ass off. So between him and Mitch, it's not like back in the day when Ewing sat and you're like, okay, this is going to be rough for a few minutes.
I mean, part of it also, the Wizards had not a lot of size. They had Taj and Gafford. They didn't have a lot of size. The Knicks played a second unit basically the whole game.
Yeah.
So as much as we want to go like, hey, I mean, the Knicks beat them pretty handed. Like they was close in the first half. The Knicks took over in the second half, like they're supposed to. But it wasn't like Obi played well, but it's not like he beat the 96 Bulls out there. He played basically a second string team. So
I feel like that win should have been. Well, I mean, I guess that shows that Randle's important because I feel like that should have been like a 20-point win.
No, I mean they could have. I think it could have been 20 points. I mean the Knicks kind of just let off the gas at the end.
And the beginning.
And the beginning, yes.
I mean they were down by 6 like halfway through the second. It's. Like, I know. I was actually getting worried. I'm like, are they really just gonna blow this game?
I mean, also Corey Crispert hit a bunch of shots early, a couple threes, and you're like, it's the same. That dude from Minnesota. What's the name again? Who was the guy from Minnesota? Prince. I was like, is this happening again? Dude, every time the Knicks play a bunch of like a second unit, is one guy going to be like Steph Curry out there?
He shoots like 80% for the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It was like, I was like, this can't be happening. This really cannot be happening. Yeah. But then it wasn't actually happening. I mean, the Knicks can wear it. Knicks are strong. That's one of the biggest strengths we said. Like the second unit's so strong. There's no like, okay, we can take it a little easier, or like we have a lighter matchup now that like the starters are out of the game. The Knicks will wear you down.
Yeah, because it's the drop off in most positions is negligible. I would argue point guard is a pretty big drop off, but like, when Ihart goes in for Mitch, it's like it's almost the same, right? And when like Grimes goes out and IQ comes in, like you might even say IQ is better than Grimes. So like,
I feel like it's kind of almost like there was a bunch of years ago when the Jets were actually good in the playoffs. I think it was when they had like maybe it was when Damian Tomlinson was there, but like I remember there was a playoff game they had, and I think it was against the Chargers, where basically the Jets' entire game plan was to run the ball up the middle every goddamn play. Mm-hmm. And for the first half, it looked just stupid. The Jets kept playing shut down, and they were just like, you're like, why do you keep just running up the middle or running the ball? Like you're getting nowhere. But somewhere in the second half, basically, the defense just got tired, and basically all these runs in the middle end up being like, oh, that was for 15 yards, that was for 20 yards, and they just ran over the team in the second half. And I feel like it's just like a rope-a-dope, like Muhammad Ali really wears you down. Mm-hmm. Not the Knicks are trying to wear you down, but like the attack never ends. Basically, we keep attacking and attacking and attacking, and eventually, a lesser team just goes, we can't keep up with this.
Yeah, I mean that's that's the thing with the super teams, like. The star sits and you're like, awesome. Like, this is our chance to catch up.
Jay, are we a super team? Is Derrick Rose finally right? We're a super team everyone's talking about?
No, I feel like the Knicks are more like a Pistons early 2000s team where it's like they have really good players, some all-stars, but they don't have a superstar. But they have like a well-rounded, deep team.
A more complete team, but not necessarily like everyone's pretty good. No one's great.
Yeah, I mean they have they should have had 2 all-stars on the team. But
yes,
they don't have a Giannis. They don't have a Jokic. They don't have an Embiid. But like they have a really good. I'm pretty much happy with their 9-man rotation.
Yeah, everyone. It's the interesting thing with the 9-man rotation when everyone's healthy is the Knicks. I mean, obviously, if you have an all-star, you can find a way to get him on the team and so forth. But if you said, like, how am I going to, this is a later conversation for the offseason, but how do we want to upgrade this team? It's not going to be obvious because you kind of like everyone in the rotation.
I like everyone in the rotation. I think it's obvious where you need to improve.
I mean, you can take just like areas like the shooting overall. By the way, the Knicks over the last, I looked it up earlier, the Knicks over the last 10 games are shooting about 50% from the field.
50?
And I think even the last 20 games are almost 50% from the field.
Mm-hmm.
So the Knicks shooting has been better as of late.
Yeah. But what about their 3-point shooting? Because that's not good.
You don't think so?
No.
No. It's been, you know what? A big factor in that is another guy who is, I think, a huge X factor for the playoffs would be Grimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I feel like Grimes has been playing a lot better lately. And when his threes go down, it makes this team a different offense.
Yeah, having an outside shooter changes the way defenses have to play. And earlier in the season, the Knicks they had nobody shooting even league average for like a quarter of the season.
Okay, so the last 20 games, the Knicks field goal percentage is 49.6%, which I think is pretty solid.
Yeah, that's fine.
And their 3-point percentage, what do you think the last 3-point percentage of the last 20 games?
36.
37.5.
Okay. It's slightly above average. That's good. Okay.
I think that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I think for
it's
the
better
season,
than I thought it's better than I thought it was going to be.
I think their stats have looked a little better or as of late, basically. I think that's the bigger point. I mean, let's see. Well,
I know it was miserable at the beginning of the season.
You have to look at the season. Like there are different parts of the season. The pre-Dallas game, the pre 9-man rotation, Dallas game, up to the Dallas game. That's one portion of the season where everything was miserable.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the Dallas to the. I mean, you can. By the way, I hate when people are like, "Well, the Knicks aren't that good if you don't consider their 8. If you just take out their 8-game and 9-game winning streaks, they're not that good." I don't know. I hate when people are like you don't count their wins.
Do you know if you take out all the Knicks wins, they have over 30 losses and no wins.
I mean, it's pretty pathetic. Yeah,
that's a really bad record if you remove all their wins.
Okay, so not that the Knicks are. I mean, for the season, the Knicks are 20th in 3-point percentage. They've moved up a little bit actually. But if they were shooting 37.5% for the season, which they're not, that would put them 8th in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Making the point, they're playing a lot. They're shooting a lot better lately.
Yeah.
And they're on that field goal percentage, the 49.7% would put them 2nd in the league. In this 3rd in the league, right behind Sacramento. They'd be 3rd in the NBA. Again, that's only for 20 games versus, you want to see over 40 games? I just think the Knicks stats are looking a lot better second half than first half.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just the eye test tells me that. Well, that and their record.
Yeah, that's true. But over 40 games, the Knicks field goal percentage, which is a pretty big sample of the season, is 48.2%.
Okay.
That's pretty, on the season, the actual Knicks percentage is, let's see, in field goal percentage, the Knicks are 21st in the NBA, and they're at 47%. I guess the numbers are pretty close.
So the bare minimum wants to know, do y'all think it's
time? By the way, their 3-point percentage also, over the last 20 games, because you didn't ask, is 36.8%. So it's whatever. Go on.
Bare minimum says, do y'all think it's time to move off of RJ? I love the kid's personality and work ethic, but I just don't think his skill set fits with JB and Randle.
I don't think that's so easy to do. Like, I get what people are saying. Like, there are guys you can replace him with. Like, if you drafted Mikal Bridges, that'd look pretty good. There'd be a lot of guys that might be better fits with his team, but the Knicks have him on a long-term contract that starts next year. he'll be, if he's a piece in the star trade that makes sense. I don't know how else you'd move him.
I mean, I think that the Knicks are still going to try and make a star trade. No matter what happens this season, unless they win a championship, I think they're still going to try to trade RJ, one of Rose and Fournier, and their war chest of heavily protected draft picks.
I guess I think I see what I understand the idea that RJ I don't think is a perfect fit with everyone else, but he's also too good of a player to like try to dump him or just move off him for anyone lesser.
I would never dump him, but that is, I was saying before, there's parts of this team you can upgrade. That is definitely an upgradable part of this rotation.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, but he's only worth trading if he's on a star trade for someone better. Otherwise, you keep him on the team. He's got too much. There's a lot going for him. He's just not an ideal fit. Like an ideal fit would be like someone, if our version of RJ that can play better defense and shoot the three. He can't. He's not great at either. Though he can get better on defense.
The Knicks are too good to make a trade where you downgrade and get like a pick down the road. That ship has sailed. So any trade now has to be an upgrade in current roster, even if it costs a draft pick. That's where they're at this point.
Right. And it's also about, this has to be, it can't be something where you're like, I'm going to dump this salary to use the money elsewhere. The Knicks are going to be over the cap.
Yeah.
This summer, they're going to sign. They are likely going to extend IQ and most likely bring back Hart. They're already over the cap to begin with. There's no cap. There's no money to spend. Besides, you're going to be kind of locked in on this team outside of like a star trade.
And you definitely want to lock the team in because that new CBA is going to make it harder for teams to stay over the cap.
Oh, share with us, Jay. Tell us more about this new CBA.
Yeah, so like contracts like John Wall this year, he would not have been able to sign with the Clippers.
Why?
They're making the penalties for going over more. They're reducing mid-level exceptions. They're basically trying to stop dynasties, I think. I don't know why maybe
prevent teams from going too far over the cap. Because like it really is ridiculous how, I mean, the cap is a bunch of hard. The NFL is a hard cap where teams have to make real choices about keeping players. The NBA is a soft cap where like the cap's at this number, but if you finagle it, you can go 60 million over.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. That having one team with a $300 million roster and another team with an $80 million roster is not great.
It's not great for competitiveness. It completely makes sense.
Yeah. That part wasn't too bad. The part I did not like with the new CBA is the in-season tournament.
Yeah, can we talk about that another time? Let's find out what they haven't said how it's going to work, right?
They basically just said this is the worst idea we've ever had, and we're going forward with it anyway. You know how everyone says the season's too long? We want to add an 83rd game for some teams.
I think they preview it by saying, "Hey, if you think flopping's awesome, you're gonna love this idea too."
I mean, I'm sure the load management era is gonna love the idea of potentially having an 83rd game.
They can do something to make it more fun. So the All-Star game has that thing where you basically play to a score instead of just like, it's not just 4 quarters. Whoever gets to 160 points or something like that. It'd be cool if they did a tournament where like the games were to 100 or 120.
I literally don't care what it is. I hate the idea. I've never been more against an idea. I hate it.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? This is like
a basketball idea. Don't bring up like, slavery or something like I'm against.
Crane, this is worse.
Yeah, no. Basketball wise, this is probably the worst idea I've ever heard. I
get like trying to make it more exciting.
How is that exciting? We're gonna have a tournament.
How's it exciting? We just had March Madness, single game elimination. That was exciting.
Hey, we're gonna have a tournament that means nothing.
Right. You have to figure out how to make it mean something and not be like, players get extra bonuses. Who gives a shit?
We already have a tournament that means something. It's called the playoffs.
Well, I would do that. The team that gets a free pass to the playoffs, gets an automatic like seed in the playoffs.
How about have a tournament at the end of the season for every team that misses the playoffs for the number 1 draft pick?
someone's stealing my idea.
I mean, that at least means something, and then you can't tank
so
too bad, right?
Having the two worst teams play it out for Wembayamba would be goddamn awesome.
Or the guy who's like a center on that team and he just throws the game because he doesn't want to lose his job.
Yes, that would be kind of amazing. Also, I hadn't thought of that, but that'd be kind of amazing too. It would be awesome. Actually, it would be great this year because if they did that this year, because Luka would be fighting to get Wembayamba, and you'd be like, the Liz is screwed up.
Yeah.
By the way, the Dallas looks like they're going to sit Kyrie and Luka for the last 3 games, supposedly. Which actually they might win those games because they weren't winning them with Luka and Kyrie. But there's a very good chance the Dallas will miss the playoffs, meaning the Knicks will not get their pick till next year, and it would mean the Knicks don't have a draft pick in either round this year.
Yeah, because the Knicks eliminated the Wizards, but that also eliminated them getting their pick.
Right, but that one you kind of didn't think that Wizards were going to make the playoffs anyway. I
did not think that at the beginning of the season, but like 10 games ago, they were in like 8th. And I'm like, okay, this is good. And then they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to shut Kuzma, Porzingis, and Beal down for the rest of the season. And I'm like, okay, there goes the pick.
That team really should just trade everyone.
So there's a rumor they're going to lock in Porzingis and Kuzma. They just want to lock in like an 8 to 10 seed team.
I would be, instead of locking, I would try to lock out. I would try to trade Beal while he has any value left.
Good luck trading him. $50 million a year. Good luck with that.
And Kuzma is not exactly a star. Trade KP just because like it'd be funny to see KP gets traded to every team in the league.
I mean, it's hard with Kuzma because if you don't sign him, you lose him for nothing. Beal, I don't think you could trade Beal. He's making like $50 million a year.
He would be tough to trade.
Porzingis, I think, is the only one you could trade. But even I think he's up for a new contract too.
Is he up this year?
I think they were talking about. Yeah, he is. He's in the contract year. So like, they're either going to let Kuzma and Porzingis walk for nothing, or they're going to sign them to like terrible contracts.
Here's a question for you on a different note. So Kyrie is doing a good job of making Dallas a miserable place to play. Maybe Doncic asks out. I mean, we have not heard any rumors that Doncic is miserable there.
Well, the rumor is that Kyrie is going to test free agency. So if he leaves and Dallas gave up all those assets, like I could see Luka snapping. Did you see the interview today with Luka where they asked if he misses Brunson?
Yes, he was.
He almost looked teary-eyed.
Yes. People said like it was kind of a knock at Kyrie. I think it was just a appreciation of how good Brunson was.
Yeah, I didn't take that as a knock at Kyrie at all. I just took that as like, yeah, Brunson was awesome, and it sucks that he's not here.
By the way, let's just do a quick. Why don't we cut to the audio of we have that audio of Kyrie calling his agent to tell him he's going to explore free agency. Here, you can cut to it. You're Kyrie.
Hey, I got something to tell you.
Oh yeah, what's up, Kyrie?
Yeah, so you know how my contract's up this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to test free agency.
You drunk?
A little, but I'm going to test free agency.
I told you not to drink on like 2 o'clock on the weekend. It's just not a.
That's all right. We were all God's people, and I'm gonna do what the will of the people.
Okay, you're gonna walk off the side of the earth also?
Please refer to me as Hella.
Okay, I quit. Bye. I can't believe who in their right. It's weird because you know what's going to happen is he's going to be like, I only want a max deal.
Yeah,
and every team in the NBA is going to be like, cool. I hope someone else gives it to you. And then he will be on Twitter saying or Instagram being like, I've been blackballed.
Yeah,
and like he'll sue the league, and people will be like, he'll be a class action with him and Cantor. I
mean, since Dallas like gave up all his assets, like they kind of have to give him a long-term contract, right? I don't think that's actually that's called sunk cost. You gave up the assets. You need to realize the assets are gone, and even worse move we sign this guy to a 4-year deal or 5-year deal. I mean, you can bring him back for 1 year. You might want to just move on. They're in a tough position there. If they move on, then they risk I guess you have to talk to Luka, and you have to be like, do you want us to sign this guy?
Yes.
I think that's the only solution. Like if I'm Mark Cuban, I do that because if you sign him and Luka doesn't like that, he's out. He's gone.
I think we have a preview of that conversation. You want to cut to that audience?
Yeah. We have a lot of exclusive audios on this show.
Luka,
Mm-hmm.
can you please stop?
So can you drive me to the airport? Your audio is just gone, by the way.
What's up?
Well, I don't know maybe the way you were talking, your audio was just gone.
Oh, God, you couldn't hear me?
No.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, we're still recording.
So whatever tone of voice you used, your mic did not.
I used crying and whining. That's what I did. I should have cried from further off. I'll cry like this. I have to think that like the Kyrie move. What do you think is going to happen next season? Suddenly it's going to look so much better. The team's been terrible. And I know they've lost their defense, but like
that's the problem. They have, Luka's been really bad on defense. Kyrie was never very good on defense, and then you traded your best defenders. Like
I mean, maybe they get a top player in the draft because they have a higher pick.
Christian Wood's terrible on defense. That's like
yeah.
the third best
I mean,
player.
you really and I don't think they have a ton of cap space, and your cap space is probably gone if you sign Kyrie. So I feel like you can't bring Kyrie back. And the Lakers, I guess he goes and joins LeBron for one more run.
I guess.
And the Lakers give him one more. Okay, let's go back to the Knicks.
All right.
We're good on that. You want to go back to the Knicks?
Yeah.
Actually, Jay, I just want to ask you, there's been a controversy not a real controversy, but people are talking about who's the MVP. Embiid, Jokic,
Or Giannis.
Embiid, Jokic, or the Greek Freak. Who are you leaning towards with MVP?
So I just want to say that it's the most valuable player, not the most best player.
Though I think people interpreted that as the most best.
I think people don't understand that. And they're like, oh, LeBron got robbed all those years. And I'm like, he joined super teams, so he's not as valuable to his team because if he leaves, they have multiple All-Stars. I think that takes a hit. Honestly, like...
he was really the best player, and even in those super teams, he was the most valuable. But I
but was he the most valuable in the whole league? He might have been the most valuable to that team. But like with the Heat, if he left, you still have Wade and Bosh. Like, I don't think he was the most valuable to his team.
Fair point. If you're going to really put the emphasis on the word value. But anyway, so would you say basically that Embiid should be eliminated of the three because his team has the worst record? They have a very good year, but the other two teams are just better records.
No, because they're still the 3 seed, and they still have a very good record. They're still going to win 50 games. So I would not eliminate them because of that. I would definitely deduct points if I'm like doing a points ranking system for missing a lot of games.
Right. But Embiid's missed a bunch of games also. Sorry. Embiid's missed a bunch of games, but it hasn't like how many have Giannis played?
I think Embiid's played the least of the 3. So
okay.
And if it's close, I'd say, but when you get into like the 60 something games played, I think that takes a knock on your chances.
I feel like Giannis is in third place in a lot of people's minds. I don't understand it. I would give him to him.
I would think,
team,
yeah, Giannis. I mean,
Giannis. By the way, Giannis has played 62 games. Are we sure Embiid? Let me look this up. I don't think Embiid's played a lot less games.
I didn't realize Giannis missed that much.
No, Giannis has missed a bunch of games.
Wow.
Let's see. Embiid has played. Let's see, I don't think
Jokic is
Embiid has played 64 games. Mm-hmm. He's played more games. I think Jokic has played the most.
Yeah, Jokic has played, I believe, over 70.
Denver just hasn't looked quite as good lately. He's played 67 games. They're all bound the same. No one gets a benefit from games played because they're all playing around the same amount.
Okay, so that's a wash because they're all in the 60s. If one of them had played like 75, I would be like, okay, that's the clear.
I think Giannis is the best defender of the 3, and he's and I give him the edge to Philly because his team just has a better record. As far as support, I don't think he has any more. I think Philly and Milwaukee Maybe Milwaukee's a little bit better of a bench, but like I don't think it's like a clear like so much better.
Well,
I mean, he's got
Middleton missed a
Harden.
bunch of time, and Portis fell off a cliff halfway through the season. So I would lean toward Giannis. Jokic's defense has been a problem lately.
Yeah,
Teams are like
Denver hasn't
attacking him. Like it's not good.
He's an unbelievable player.
Yeah.
I just think of the and you have to nitpick, but I think of the three, I would just give it to Embiid. I put him first. I mean, not Embiid. I mean, Giannis.
Yeah. I mean, I think Jokic might be the best on offense, but he's the worst on defense. So I would.
I mean, I kind of think defense should matter. I mean, also that's why I think IQ should get Sixth Man of the Year because once you count his, I think it's close with him and Brogdon. But once you count his IQ's defense, he's definitely ahead of Brogdon.
Yeah, I feel like in most years they give the Sixth Man of the Year award to like a guy who hits a lot of threes off the bench and does nothing else.
I mean, like the Jamal Crawford award, where you don't have to play a lick of defense, but as long as you put the offense up, we'll give you the
Jordan
award.
Clarkson, like J.R. Smith, like they all just go off the bench.
Did you really
shove.
knock a Nick? Come on, Jay.
I mean, I did not like J.R. We know that.
There's audio record of me not liking JR.
Just because he was hungover like 40% of the games.
The league has announced in the new CBA they will not be testing for marijuana, so J.R. Smith is mounting his comeback. That's
why I think they agreed to all those stupid tournaments and stuff. I think once they heard we're not testing for marijuana, they're just like yes to everything else. They didn't hear anything.
I would be totally a fan of this, and I don't think anyone else would do. I don't think the league would like the publicity from this, but if everyone could get high for the games, for the tournament, like if it was a high tournament, then I'd be very happy. Like if everyone has to smoke like a bowl before the tournament, before the games start, it would just be more fun.
No, not a bowl. Like they have to hot box a car.
Yeah. The locker room must be hot boxed before the game starts.
I want them like red-eyed and sluggish trying to play, like stupid giggly. I don't like not just stoned. I want them like fucked up.
Yeah, let's make this silly. Make them all wear sumo suits. Make it a ridiculous.
Bring back slam ball with the trampolines.
Yes, slam ball. This should be all slam ball.
Slam ball with sumo suits. That I can get behind that.
So the Knicks also, we didn't even mention, the Knicks had a huge victory against Cleveland.
Yes. So Randle out, still beat Cleveland. Huge win.
That was also, I don't know why we waited on this one, but I mean, that was no defense, or not no defense, but limited defense in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
Brunson and Mitchell went head to head. It was kind of awesome, and especially awesome because Brunson outplayed Mitchell, even though Mitchell was goddamn awesome.
Career high, 48 points.
Yeah, Brunson was ridiculous with what he was hitting. I mean, so was Mitchell. It's going to be assuming they play each other in the first round, it is going to be a really interesting series.
I think it's a good matchup. Assuming Randall's back, I think it's a good matchup.
How do you feel about the fact that they did not get Donovan Mitchell? I don't know if you know, but this topic might be brought up if the Knicks play each other. Knicks and Cleveland. We might hear that once or twice that Mitchell could have gone to the Knicks.
I might watch the games on mute. Especially if they're on like TNT or something. Like if they're on MSG, okay, but if they're on national TV, that's all we're going to hear about. It's going to be so annoying.
Do you remember that one year when I think Wade had gone back to the Bulls? He started shooting threes, and like every game he played, they were like, "Did you know Wade didn't used to shoot a lot of threes, but now he's shooting threes?"
I know.
That's what it's going to be like. Every time Mitchell just touches the ball, they're like, "Did you know he almost went to the Knicks this summer?"
They're going to leave out the part that they wanted like RJ, IQ, Grimes, Obi, Mitch, and like 6 first rounders. And they're just going to leave that out.
Right. I mean, like, if you could, the problem is you don't, like, we would have a lot less depth. If it was RJ and Obi and Grimes and 6 first rounders, would that have worked out?
Maybe. That might have worked out, but when you start throwing in like Mitch and IQ, like that's where you lose me. I don't think like Mitchell is that good that you can lose that much depth.
Right. You need a team around him. I almost feel like even including Grimes. I get the idea of holding Grimes back. You like either it's. I mean, to a certain extent, you'd have to have said to that. What you have to say to them, and what they probably did was like either it's about the picks or the players. You cannot have both.
I mean,
You cannot have 6 first rounders and we give you a bunch of our players.
we thought Cleveland had a much better supporting cast, and they're only 3 games ahead of the Knicks.
Yeah, I mean that really is. Well, the thing is, they're 3 games better than the Knicks with Mitchell. So like the supporting cast. The thing is,
they
we
still
had no
have,
idea.
Garland and Mobley, like it's still like a really good team.
Jared Allen, who didn't
Jared
play,
Allen,
but
yeah.
I mean, they have a very good team. What we didn't know we didn't know we'd get good Randle. We weren't sure about that.
Mm-hmm.
We did not know that Brunson would be an all-star, basically. Not officially an all-star, but basically an all-star. We didn't realize we were getting a guy on the verge of really breaking out.
Yeah.
Those are the big things. Little things, we didn't know we'd get Hart and how good Hart would be. We did not know quickly would make a leap and become kind of awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We did not know. Well, we didn't know. Well, I guess we kind of knew what Barrett was, and Barrett is kind of the same player. Hasn't made the leap. We didn't know how good Hart was going to be. Hartenstein. Also, Hartenstein's passing lately has been a lot better.
Yeah.
He's been a lot bigger of a
that's-
factor with passing.
That's what he was thought to be when the Knicks got him.
Right. It was just kind of figuring out. I think to a certain extent when he first came here, it was kind of like, hey, we have Mitchell Robinson. Hart, can you do this? Hart, can you do the same thing when you go out there? Can you just be Mitch Robinson? And Hart was like, I'm not kind of that player.
Mm-hmm.
I need to figure out how I fit in here.
Yeah.
I think if we're doing the player power rankings, which I guess I said we could do this episode, but we did not do it for this episode. I put Hart over. I put Hart over Robinson right now. I think he's outplaying Mitchell Robinson right now.
I do too, which is crazy. I never.
Yeah, I don't even think it's a knock against Mitchell Robinson as much as I think Hart's been playing really well lately.
Yeah.
Hence him being on the closing lineups. We got some questions. Let's do the questions.
Sure.
Did you find out how to figure out how to get that direct message on Instagram?
Yeah. So this is from Dylan. He says, is there any case we can make that Philly would be a better first-round matchup than Cleveland?
I mean, the case I think you would make also is just the idea that James Harden does not have the best record in the playoffs.
Correct. I also think that they're not nearly as deep as Cleveland.
They are not deep. They are absolutely not deep. Their bench is not great.
Right. So I think you can wear them out. Basically, their starting lineup is better than the Cleveland, but their bench is worse. So
you'd have to figure out how not to send Embiid and Harden to the line 47 times in the game.
Yes.
Which is a surprisingly hard thing to do when every time you come near them, it's a foul.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can make a case that that they're definitely beatable, but I think Cleveland's looking more vulnerable at the moment. So I think this is working out as good as it could.
I mean, in fairness, though, if you don't want to overplay regular season games, the Knicks weren't the Knicks 4-0 against Atlanta that year, 2 years ago, or 3-1.
Yeah, yeah.
They had really beaten them up in the regular season, and Randle, who gets a lot of crap for the playoffs, had just lit them up in the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
Regular season and playoffs are different. Both Cleveland and Philly are both scary teams in the playoffs. And either one, if Cleveland or Philly, I think Cleveland and Philly have a legit shot of going to the finals.
I think Harden is usually really good in the first round. He doesn't usually.
He waits till later on to be less clutch.
Yeah. So you probably don't want to play first round Harden anyway.
I think I can't see us basically. It'd be tough to fall. It'd be better. I think you're right. We're staying in the 5th seed. The Knicks are going to win at least one game of the last 3, so it's hard. It'd be hard to believe the Knicks are not going to play anyone besides Cleveland at this point.
If for them to fall, they'd have to lose all 3, and Brooklyn would have to win all 3. So I don't see it happening.
Okay, so Q Wang, I can't pronounce it. I apologize for not being able to pronounce his first name. But Q Wang, if the Knicks this is on Facebook, I think. If the Knicks have a draft pick this year, who are we not playing next season in favor of the draft pick? So a lot of people, this is a good point, because a lot of people say the Knicks, it's not a big deal the Knicks don't have a draft pick because the Knicks don't have any room for a draft pick on the team.
I get that, but is it that outrageous to say that the draft pick might be better than Obi or RJ or Grimes? Like, are those guys so good that we can't possibly find a player that's better than those guys?
It's also guys get injured. there's always extra playing time around. I mean, like obviously McBride played this year. I mean, Fournier played in the Washington game. There's some extra playing time.
Sims had a
But
long
it's not
run.
that. What did you say?
Sims had a long run at one point.
Yeah, it's not that the guy, whoever they draft, is going to play 30 minutes a night and going to be an integral part of the team next year. There's a good chance they're not. Even if they're a very good player, it will be a hard lineup to crack. But there's a decent chance if you keep drafting young players, over time, they crack the lineup. Like, it'll be 2 years in a row where the Knicks have drafted no one.
Yeah.
I mean, they got Trevor Keels, which is basically Keels. It's basically like getting no one.
Yeah.
No offense to Keels. Basically they'll have 2 years of not filling. The Knicks are not an old team; they're a young team. But you want to always backfill. You want to always add young players who are going to develop. I mean, that what's his name? Who's the guy again that I salivate over in Oklahoma?
Jalen Williams.
Yeah, Jalen Williams. He can play defense. He's been playing pretty good on offense. And you may say, like, hey, if the Knicks had drafted him, he'd only play 15 minutes a game at most. You know what? He's a pretty good player. So even if year one he played 15 minutes, he'd get more minutes going forward because he'd just outplay some other players in the rotation.
Right. I'd rather have, again, no offense to Obi, I'd rather have him out there than Obi.
You always want players that are better. You can't be like, I love Quentin Grimes so much, no one else can play over him. There are players that can play. I love IQ. There are guys that are going to be better, can play over him. It's always good to, like, you don't want to just say, like, spots 11 through 50 on the roster should be complete trash that can't play because it doesn't matter.
Well, there's also this. The Knicks are in fifth. You can make that argument if the Knicks are in first, but they're in fifth. So,
Right. If we won the title, you're like, okay, this team really is perfect. We don't need to necessarily improve it. But also, it adds a lot if you were like, hey, we want to make a star trade, and we have this guy in the bench who's only playing 15 minutes a game, but looks awesome. So now we can move off maybe a guy that plays more minutes because we can have this guy to replace him. Or we can trade this guy because now he looks awesome in his 15 minutes. You can just make your team better. Like, I really think this idea that Knicks don't need to draft anyone because there's no obvious place to put them in the rotation is just not understanding what the value of the draft is.
Always add more talent. Always.
Always add more talent. Yes, you can. If you draft a guy who's an all-star, or who has all-star potential, he will make his way into your lineup. He'll make your team better. The Knicks, I mean, people were saying this going into this season. Like last year, they were like, well, the Knicks don't need to draft anyone because this team's perfect. And I was like, the team won 37 games. You're telling me you can't get a young player who could crack the rotation?
Well, this is also a team with guys like IQ and Grimes who crack the rotation after not playing. Like, there's literally examples on the team.
Right. Our team is built of examples of players who were young, who developed, who gotten better, and now we're like, it's impossible. Like, oh, if we draft late in the first round, you can't find a good player. Well, two of our best players were drafted at pick 25, so I don't know what you're talking about.
And I heard their argument for, like, pick 11 that the Knicks punted on. I was like,
yeah, it's so crazy. Like, it's also like, hey, your best player on the whole team probably is Brunson, who was drafted in the second round, and you don't believe in the draft?
Right.
I think it's insane. I think the Knicks look pretty good, and maybe this doesn't come back to haunt them right away, but it will in the future. It's also like, hey, what if I like IQ? What if IQ is like, I only want a max deal, and maybe Houston's dumb enough to give him a max deal? You'd be like, well, we have this other young guy who could take his place because we're not stuck in where we have to sign these guys to outrageous contracts to keep them because we have flexibility because we have other young players.
Right. Yeah, if IQ takes a max somewhere else, the Knicks just have like a gaping hole in that spot now.
Also, IQ can't do that this offseason. He has to wait till...
You know what I mean, though.
Yeah. I said that, but I feel like a lot of people are talking about that the Knicks have to sign IQ as if he won't be on the team next year if the Knicks don't sign him. They should sign him. He's on the team no matter what for next year. Mm-hmm. Unless he pulls like a Ben Simmons. If you don't want to play, I mean, doesn't matter what they're paying you. You just don't have to show up. Fine. Ben Simmons. There's a I've been reading Reddit a little more. I kind of like Reddit, and I started looking at Reddit Knicks, and there's other different Reddits, and there's one that's become popular got popular over the last year called Anti-Work, and it's people complaining about their jobs or why their job sucks and why this sucks and why working sucks. I really think Ben Simmons should start posting that every day. It'd be so
fun.
great to hear people boasting about like their $12 an hour job, or like why doing this sucks, or why like being a waiter sucks. And like Ben Simmons is like, yeah, I mean they expect me to shoot every game. Wait, sorry, dude, what do you do? I play in the NBA. It sucks. I mean, like I get this whole anti-work thing. I don't want to work either, dude.
That'd be hilarious.
Okay. Frank writes, not a question for you all, but missed the Wizards game. They asked the most impossible Knicks trivia question ever. Jay, let's see if you knew this one. The question was, before tonight's game, the Knicks in the Wizards game had 4 guys score 20 points. They said before tonight's game, who were the Knicks players the last time the Knicks had 4 20-point scores in a single game? The game was 136-134, victory over the Bucks. And he has attached the screenshot of the game. Do you have any idea, Jay?
No, it's got to be a while ago.
Okay, so it was the time, and it wasn't that many years ago. I want to say it was maybe 5 years ago, maybe. I feel like this might be 2018.
It's probably
I'm looking at the roster. I'm thinking it's 2018 or 2009. Probably 2018. 19, maybe 2019.
Maybe Hardaway Jr.
That's one. I'll give you a name. No, not on the team. I guess it must have been after. I can't.
Or maybe he was just injured.
I think he was just injured. Looking at the roster, I think he was just injured. Yeah.
Okay, give me the rest.
Well, I'm going to give you a rest. I'm going to tell you another player on the team.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you players on the team that did not do this, just so you can try to fill it in. Okay. So Trey Burke and Luke Cornett were on the team. Alonzo Trier was on the team.
This is brutal.
Mitch was on the team.
Well, it definitely wasn't Mitch.
No, I'm just naming guys that didn't do it. But that should give you a clue if Mitch was on the team.
Kevin Knox.
Yes, that was the clue. Kevin Knox, same draft. So you said Hardaway and you said Knox. There are 2 more to go. I'll give you hints about those players now.
Okay.
One of them was a 3-and-D player our team irrationally believed in for some reason, a 2nd-round pick.
Oh, I was going to say Frank till you said 2nd-round pick.
He later played on Cleveland and sucked.
It doesn't narrow it down a lot.
Yes. He had a couple of decent games, including this one. His initials are DD.
Dodson?
Yes. Okay, one more player to go. This guy was a point guard.
Point guard.
And I'm going to give you one last clue.
Okay.
He was in the same draft as Porzingis.
Moutier?
Yes.
That is, wow.
It's really funny when you're like, oh my God, the Knicks had 4 guys score 20. The last time they did that, they had a terrible team. Even though it's obviously a very good stat, it's just like that's crazy that those guys were the team.
Yeah.
Hugh Wang writes, which Knicks coach in the last 10 years is better at player development than Tibbs? I will up the ante and say the last 20 years. Name a Knicks coach that is better than player development. I don't think there is one. They can make the argument. Maybe Woodson. I don't know if you can make the argument Woodson because the Knicks, not like the Knicks developed any young players under Woodson.
No, they had like the oldest team of all time with Woodson. You can't say Hornacek or Fisher or Miller.
No one was even here very long.
No. Yeah, everyone's there for like a season and a half.
The only one, yeah, it really is. The only coach where young players showed actual development under, even though he gets no credit for it and apparently plays no young players, is Tibbs.
He doesn't play the young guys, though. How's that possible?
Do you want to make our debate? Because Jay sometimes will debate people online who make the argument that Tibbs does not play the young players. So I'm going to take the side of it's a debate episode. I'm going to take the sides of that Tibbs doesn't play the young players, and Jay will take the side of reality. Okay, let's go.
So, Fournier, tell me about how Tibbs doesn't play the young
Tibbs doesn't play the young. He's never played a young player. Did you know he started Alex Burks over Emmanuel quickly at point guard? I can't get over this.
Right. Quickly was not really developed yet. Maybe not ready to start a point.
He would have been ready if he was played. We don't know that. We don't know. He could have been all-star last year if he just played.
I see. So what do you say to the fact that the 9-man rotation doesn't have anybody over 28?
Yeah, they're all an old 28. They're all really old. I mean, do you know how old Randle is? You know Randle was born like before the 2000s?
Wow. Yeah. So,
Like
probably
he's
28
really
years ago.
Yeah, like we should stop going on these vets who've been in the league so long. Like we got to play the young players.
So Derrick Rose and Fournier aren't playing.
Yeah, I mean, it's really messed up. He would treat the veterans like this and not play the young players at the same time.
Is he playing anybody? How is this possible?
I don't know how he does this, but he's a master of not developing players or playing players. I don't know. It's a simulation we live in.
It seems to me like we have Mitch, RJ, and Grimes all in the starting lineup, and they're all under 25.
Did you see what
was until last week.
Seville is doing for Charlotte or whatever team he plays for now? He scored like 20 points the other day. But no, Tibbs wouldn't play him. So, like, we lost on another player because Tibbs wouldn't play him. And you know what Cam Reddish said? Cam Reddish said Tibbs favors players who are good at basketball. So it's messed up.
Cam, by the way, had a minus 20 and a 6-point loss.
Yeah, it's a lot of favoritism towards guys who are good at basketball. It's really messed up from the coach. Everyone plays. Listen, ever since I was 6 years old, everyone gets playing time. Everyone's supposed to play equally. It's not fair if guys are supposed to play who are just because they're better at basketball.
It's all political. Blacklisted.
It's all political. You know Tibbs hasn't played Enes Kanter a minute this season?
That's because he spoke out against China.
Exactly. Also, LeBron James, his son, who's a young player, doesn't get to play either.
Crazy.
No Bronny out there.
All right. Any other questions?
Yeah. Whatever, writes. What is the playoff strategy to beat the Cavs? We might cover that more on our next episode.
We might cover that for the entire episode next episode.
Yeah. And Worldwide Knicks writes, are you setting up a playoff watch party? Also, I think Grimes could be the secret weapon for the playoffs. I think so, too. Once the defense gets ratcheted up and teams think about double-teaming Randle or Brunson, Grimes is going to be invaluable. Thoughts? Grimes at IQ's three-point shooting is going to be huge. I completely agree. If Grimes can hit his shots, it makes a big difference. What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to get looks. So if he can play like he's been playing the last couple of weeks, that's definitely an X factor to look out for.
Hart also. I'd like to see Hart shoot some more threes and be more involved. Also, the one thing I got to say, like the Washington game, if the ball spread out a little more, I know Randle wasn't there. I want to see more guys get involved and more on offense.
Yeah. Even with Randle back, I want to see a lot more ball movement. And
also just Obi, he's playing better. Clearly his confidence was coming back to him. Like he was doing a lot of things he wasn't doing before. Like also, you haven't seen Obi doing a lot of cutting this season, but he felt more free reign to do that because he was getting a lot more minutes. It's great. If his minutes go back to 20 minutes a game, he's still got to cut. He's still got to do everything out there.
Yeah.
And I think are we doing a watch party, Jay?
I don't know. Should we? Can you even attend a watch party?
I don't know, Jay. I would like. It would be fun. It would be fun. We could just say we could. I want to attend one of the games in person. But as far as we could just say we're going to a bar in the city. We can meet up for the game, and if anyone, we could just mention on the show anyone wants to come meet us. They can meet us there. We're not gonna by watch party. It'll be like 2 other fans come, hopefully. But we could do that.
All right. So we'll discuss this week, and then we'll announce on the next episode.
Yeah, I feel like depending on when, it wouldn't be crazy to go to a bar near MSG and just watch the game.
Yeah. We did it 2 other times, and we met some really cool people.
2 other times in only 10 years, 12 years. It was awesome though when we did it.
It was.
Okay.
All right. nyknickspodcast@gmail.com. We're NY Knicks Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Patreon. And if you want to join the live show, youtube.com/TITOWAJ or twitch.tv/crumpledbacon.
Jay, will you get a Knicks tattoo if the Knicks win? They beat Cleveland?
No.
What if they win the title this year?
No.
No?
No.
What about a small the Knicks win the title, like one of the greatest moments of your life, and you get a small little tattoo on your forehead.
So I can always tell when the show's gone on too long when we get into this mode. So thanks for listening. We will be back next week.
Okay.
Bye, love. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go.
This is the end.
Say goodbye. You better go away.
I'm gonna leave you.
It's the end. Goodbye. Goodbye. Just leave me alone.
Feels so good to say goodbye.
I'm sick and tired and I'm saying goodbye. Goodbye, girl.
Goodbye, everybody.
Rob said he'd get the tattoo if they win the title. So I'm gonna hold you
I think if they win the title, I could be talked into it maybe.
on your forehead.
No, obviously.
I was gonna say, if you do it
I
on your
like adding
forehead,
the
can I
forehead.
be in the room when you show your wife?
I like adding the forehead just because it doesn't sound so absurd till you say the forehead. Like a tattoo, you're like, oh, on like someplace people can't see. No, like where everyone can see.